Shalom Israel. For a start, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Harakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel who will and teach well, to the Akim, to the Iwans and byways, and those pushing videos in truth, sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in truth. It's lucky my nose, sinus has just played me up, man, these past few days, so I'm going to hear a lot of sniffing, so I apologize in advance. This lesson there is inspired by a lesson I was watching from one of the brothers. This is the lesson. Well, please check it out. The brother did a good lesson. I enjoyed it anyway. It says, work out your own salvation. And, there's been many videos on working out your own salvation. But the brother did a good lesson on that. And this lesson here is kind of based off that. That's what inspired this lesson. And hopefully, it's as edifying to you as the brother's lesson was as edifying to me. And I've titled this, How Narrow is Your Gate? Yeah. Now, this is the first precept I'm going to read. It says, the heading on it is the narrow and wide gates. And to enter into the kingdom, these are the choices we have to make in it. Are you going to enter through the narrow gate or the wide gate? And you'd think, well, the wide gate, something that's wide is easy for you to enter through. And, so that may be the choice of many. But in this truth, the easiest choice is not always the best choice. It's those are the choices that we have to make. That is what's going to actually refine us and get us to the kingdom. So the gate that we're meant to enter through is actually the narrow gate. Yeah. This is Matthew 7:13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate. And this is the beauty of it. Let me bring this out quickly. The beauty of it is the Most High, he actually tells us what we should do. He actually tells us, right? There's a quiz. Imagine you're doing a quiz and someone gives you the answer to the quiz. That's what we've been, that's what we've been given. We've been given the answer to the quiz. But for some reason, even with the answers, we're choosing the wrong options. So here it says choose life, yeah? Deuteronomy 30, and I'll start 15. And this is the answer. Choose life. Yeah? It says, see, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. Yeah? In that I commanded this day to love the Lord thy power, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgment. It's like my nose is really blocked. That thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy power shall bless thee in the land whether thou goest to possess it. So when you jump down to 9, I'll start at 19. Yeah, 19 it says, yeah, 19, Deuteronomy 30, 19, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, yeah? The Most High set before us life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that thou and thy seed may live. So we've been given options. And the Most High has told us the options that we should choose, the option that we should choose. Which we know that life is better than death. But we continually choose death and wonder why the things we're going through are actually happening to us. Yeah. So going back to Matthew 7:13 says, enter in at the straight gate. So we're told which gate to enter in. You've got two options before you, left and right. We're told to enter in the right gate, which is the straight gate. It says, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which goes in thereat. And if we look at the things that we're going through today, the ways of this kingdom is that wide gate. It gives us everything and allows us to do everything that is opposed to what the Most High wants us to do. That's that wide gate. Now, when you come into this truth, you have to start stripping back, which is why a lot of people don't really want to come into this truth, because you feel that you're being restricted from doing things which you're used to doing, which you enjoy doing, not realizing that those things actually bring death. It's not getting you where you want to get to. You look at religion. Our people are comfortable with Christianity because it allows you to say, you know what, I'm serving God. But at the same time, you're doing everything that everybody else does. What makes you separate? What makes you holy? What makes you set apart? Because we're meant to be a holy people. Even if we go by the understanding of Christianity, let's say, for argument's sake, the church is now who the Most has chosen. So they're meant to be holy. Shalakia. But what actually sets you apart to those in the world? For the most part, those in the world don't want to kill. They think it's wrong to steal. Yeah. But then you're keeping the same feast days as them, eating the same things as them, dressing the same way as them. Because you have 6 sisters going to church. I remember when I first come to this truth, there's a church there where I live. And I was standing out there teaching because that's where I went first. And this sister come out. I don't think she was a church girl, but this is how she decided to go to church that Sunday. And the miniskirt short as short. It's shorter than short. And the Most High is so funny. He's like, he sent this gust of wind. And she did a try and hold down this short skirt, and the Most High is just blowing it up, exposing herself. And I'm thinking, why the hell would you go to church in something that short anyway? So they're leading our people through that wide path, because you can now serve the Most High, eat what you want to eat, dress how you want to dress, serve it on which day you want to serve it, do everything you want. And that's that wide gate. But the narrow gate, it restricts you. It makes you set apart. It makes you holy. So coming into this truth now, a lot of our people don't want to do it because they feel like they're being restricted from doing certain things which they're used to doing. But that's the whole point of the truth. It's meant to restrict you, because the ways that we're walking, the gates that we're going through, growing up in this world, in this kingdom, is a wide gate which leads to death. And we're meant to choose that straight gate. So I'll read that again. Matthew 7:13. Enter in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is a path that leadeth to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. Yeah. And when you look at our people today, we're doing the same as everybody else. The men are in church, clean shaven, allowing the sisters them to preach over the congregation. Like, it's just all off, man. Now, I want to look at this word straight. Like I said, to lucky for all the sniffing, but of late my sinuses been playing me up again. It says straight.
Strong's G 4728. Stenos. Stenos.
It says narrow, straight, yeah. But then you're going to here into the Strong's.
Strong's G 2476. Histemi. Histemi.
Now there's something that came up that I want to touch on. You look at B and number 3. It says to stand, be intact, or family or kingdom. But here's the point. It says to escape in safety. That's what that straight gate does. It allows you to escape the evils of this world. Yeah, it allows you to escape it mentally, and in time to come to escape it physically, because the Most High will guide us through this, man. So that straight gate allows you to escape the ways of this world. You know, the scripture speaks about loving not the world, neither the things that are in the world. When you're going through the wide gate, you're partaking in the things of this world. The straight gate, the narrow gate, allows you to escape the things of this world. Yeah, it says to escape in safety. That's what that narrow gate does, man. So let me quickly go back there. I'm gonna keep that. Matthew 7. Yeah, so Matthew 7. Yeah, it's lucky for the background noise. Uh, this is always the case, man. No time. Or do something foolish on the computer. It's running nice and smooth. So Matthew 7 and 30, it says, entering at the straight gate. Yeah, that gate which allows you to escape in safety, man. It says, for wide is the gate and narrow and broad is a path that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Yeah, because many people can get through a wide gate at once. Not so much people through uh, a narrow gate. It says, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. And few there be that find it. Yeah, it leadeth unto life. And what did the Most High say? He told us to choose life, man. Deuteronomy 30 and 15. See, I have set for you this day life and good and death and evil, in that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy power, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgment, that thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy power shall bless thee in the land where thou goest to do it. This is the life that we should choose, man. Yeah, fearing the Lord and walking in his ways. Yeah, 19, I have called heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death. Yeah, the life is that narrow path, the death is that broad path, and that comes from following the ways of this kingdom. It says, blessing and cursing, therefore choose life, choose the narrow path, that thou and thy seed may live, because we're meant to be passing down this knowledge to our children. Yeah, this is 2nd Ezra 7 and 6. It says, there's also another thing, a city is builded and set upon a broad field, you see, and it's full of all good things. Yeah. So for us to get back to that grass that is green, we have to go through that narrow path first. It says the entrance thereof is narrow. The entrance is straight. Yeah, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left hand, and on the left's lacquer, and deep water. It says, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there can but one man go there at once. So that's that narrow path. You can't be walking that walk with your friend. You know, this truth, as much as it's a truth to be shared, you know, you're not meant to keep that knowledge to yourself. It's also a selfish walk, because you can only but work on yourself. It says, if this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive his inheritance? And the dangers that we have to pass is, you know, the things that the wide gate offers. You know, the lust of our eyes, the lust of the flesh. These are the things that the wide gate offers. The narrow gate now restricts you from some of these things. And our people don't want that restriction, especially a people that's been oppressed for a number of years. You want what is seen to be freedom, but we are never free until we're in the kingdom. You know, part of our punishment is to be subject to our enemies, man. Having to go to our enemies for the want of all things. That's not freedom. Yeah, it says Second Ezra 7:9. If the city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it. So if you don't go through the things which you have to go through, the restriction of the lust of the eyes, restriction of the lust of the flesh, not loving the things that are in the world, not being partakers of the things in the world, how shall you receive this inheritance? And you won't. Yeah. And I said, verse 10, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. Like, this is what we have to go through, because when Adam sinned, that was it. The gates that were wide were now made narrow. Let me read on. Yeah. Second Ezra 7 and 11. Because for their sakes I made the world. This place was made for us. But the world that we live in now is not a world that is made for us. It says, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that is now. Yeah. What was decreed is that to get back to where Adam was initially, we have to go through the narrow gate. Things are going to be hard. Yeah, which is why many of our people actually go back into the world. Oh, slack it. I need to go below slack it. Yes, slack it. So it says, 2nd Ezra 7 and 11, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that is now. Meaning, what was decreed for us to get back there, there's going to be a narrow path. It says, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, see there, full of sorrow and travail. And we have to go through these things to actually get to where we want to go. If we go through that wide gate, which gives us our heart desires in a sinful kingdom, and it's normally obtained in a sinful manner, it's not righteous, man, then we won't get the kingdom. It says, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. And our people don't want to go through the pain because we've been through a number of pain already, but this is the condition of the battle. These are the things which we have to go through to get to that greener grass on the other side. It says, for the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure. Yeah, before Adam sinned, all was good. You know, like here. It says, and brought immortal fruit. Pick that out. Yeah, brought immortal fruits, man. This is the elder world. Genesis 2 and 25. And they were both naked, yeah, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed, meaning they were without sin. Everything was good, dandy, living a life which was, 100% righteous. So this is 2nd Ezra 7 and 13. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruits, showing you that Adam, before he transgressed, he was immortal, man. Because it's sin that brings death. Put that out. Second is just 3. So remember we read on they were both naked, the man and the woman, and not ashamed, meaning they were without sin. Anytime we read naked after that verse, it's dealing with shame and sin. So 2nd is just 3. And I'll start 6. As thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted. That's out 5. And gave us a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands. And didst breathe into the breath of life, gave us his laws, statutes, and commandments. And he was made living before thee. And thou leddest him into, and Proverbs 7:2, keep my commandments and live. It says, and thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forward. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed. So he went from that immortal state to a mortal state. Yeah? Immortal to mortal. And we're trying to get back from mortal to immortal. And that's it will only happen if we enter through that narrow gate, that straight gate. Or 2 Ezra 3:7, and unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed, and immediately thou puttest death in him, and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. Yeah. So from Adam transgressed, that's when we ended up in the condition that we're in, having to go through that narrow or straight gate to get back to where we were before, where parts were wide and short. Yeah. Matthew 24:30, it says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Yeah. And that's what we have to do, go through that narrow gate. Yeah. Endure to the end. Let me look up this word. And it's only when we've endured to the end, the Most High will look at us and say,
Strong's G 5056. Tell us. Tell us.
yeah, he will look at us and say, well done, my good and faithful servant. If you don't endure to the end, then you never hear those words, man. It says termination, the limit at which a thing ceases to be. So the end is when, this flesh passes away, because our spirit don't die. We have to endure till we die or till Yahushua returns. Yeah, that was the point I wanted at that. It says, see, that by which a thing is finished, it's close issue. Yeah. So we have to endure to the end till we die or Yahushua returns. That's the only time we're going to be deemed perfect. We deemed perfect, or what's the word I'm looking? Deemed worthy of gaining the kingdom. And you'll only know if you walk that narrow gate once. You won't know, but the Most High will only be able to let you know whether you walked through that narrow path once you've died. Because many people have come into this truth. Yeah, they might have started off through the narrow gate and thought, you know what, the wide one's better, so they ended up falling out. 1 Corinthians 6:9, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Yeah, why? Because they're going through that wide gate. It appeals to all your lust. Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of the Most High. And these things are what the wide gate offers. Yeah, you can do all of these things and still say, I love the Most High, I'm serving the Most High. But it says, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Yeah. Verse 11. And such were some of you. Yeah, these were the things which we used to partake in. So coming back through that narrow gate, we're going to be trying to put these things off. But ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Lord Yahushua, and by the Spirit of the Most High. Verse 12 says, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. Yeah, there's many things, like, especially in this kingdom, a lot of these things we read here, they're lawful, but are they expedient? Like, says 2 Corinthians 6:12, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Yeah, we don't want to be brought under the power of our fornication, idolatry, being effeminate, abuse of yourself, mankind, being covetous, thieves, all of these things. We don't want to be brought under those powers, man. We want to be walking through that narrow gate. Let me bring up one last precept. Galatians 5:16. Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So we're walking in the spirit. That's us walking through that narrow gate. It says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. These are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So you can't be walking through the wide gate and think that you're walking in the spirit. You have to be going through that narrow gate to be walking through the spirit. That way you're putting off the lust of the flesh. Yeah. Something I want to touch on. Hopefully it was edifying. With that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Maharaka Kadash, Parasha Allah.